Hello dear viewers, today we are going to play Shaky Grounds series of levels for Duke Nukem 3D, and with me is Merlijn von Oostrum, the author of these levels. Thank you very much, Merlijn, for joining me today. Shaky Grounds is a level that features very extreme large-scale destruction and has a pretty interesting story about how Duke was sent to investigate some underground alien bases, and so he arrived to a city and decided to first take a rest in the hotel, but when he woke up, and that is where the map starts. It's amazing and impressive scenery. I had no idea that not only the buildings but actually the whole street is going to collapse. And oh, what's going on? Need to do something. That's... It's just too easy to get caught up with the view and just get killed by the collapsing ceiling because of this. And oh, it's closing. That one is closing too fast, so there's an actual... You have to... Oh. You have to fail this 2 times. I don't see how this can... How this can possibly complete it from a first try. Oh, that is not it. This just feels like an obstacle course of some like hardcore NES game of constantly falling all the time. Almost there and still died. No, it's really intense.
It's hard to be all the time.
Finally did it. Phew. That's really old school hardcore when you have to die a lot. And still like something going on. It's getting down very slowly. Oh, I have to die again. Because I got trapped.
Where is it?
What is going on? Ah. Somehow I've survived the deep fall. Interesting. But what's an explanation for that? I don't see anything. I don't know if there was a water or soft sofa when Duke fell, but there's just nothing. It's like some magic. This kind of breaks believability. Flooded, so there is water. If they're flooded. Oh.
And what?
What a believable designed interface. I said there was a huge fall and I didn't see a way how Duke could survive this fall because there was nothing but just a dark room where he fell. The stream is probably going with a delay for you. Keeping up to date. And now I'm in the room which has a computer. And there's really impressive spritework for an interface of it. Okay, it's behind Tajik. Okay. Behavior made that hit. Knowledge. According to our sources, failures have been spotted at the culture district.
What are you waiting for? Christmas?
I do have some delay, but I can follow the stream.
Yes, yes. Unfortunately, that's how streams work. But don't worry, just comment the place you currently see. Hopefully, I will remember.
Come on.
To explain the beginning,
Yes, yes. I will be happy to hear that.
To explain the beginning, the idea of the beginning is there's a huge quake and Duke barely escapes. So, yeah, he fell, but the idea is that he gets knocked out. That he gets knocked out by the quake. That's why the screen goes black, and then he wakes up and he has to crawl out of the wreckage, and that's where the real maps. That's where the map starts.
I understand. It's just the way he was screaming the sound that usually plays when he falls in a deep pit. It made me think that he actually falls in a deep pit and then I was wondering how could he survive. I don't know, maybe it's possible to make some... I don't even know how to make it better considering limitations of build engine. Maybe it's like... I wouldn't... In games they usually make it... Yeah, like you fall on your back and the bricks fall on your head, and of course that's not possible to do in build. Maybe... If there's a teleportation, maybe if a ceiling moves down and then floor moves down, and there's teleportation attached to a certain height. Not even sure if that's possible to do.
Well, he did fall.
I don't know, maybe
He did fall,
it's
but
possible to
I tried to create the
make
illusion.
some
I'm trying to remember. Story detail. So the city we're in is Emmericville. And there's already some news about that. Hot news, really hot. Actually, it's really cool to see hot news while being at the epicenter of the event. It reminds me of how Freelancer game, that's really great. When you complete some story mission and then you get into a bar and you read news that tell about events of that mission. It really helps to achieve the feel of a living world that reacts to your actions.
What are you waiting for? Christmas? What are you waiting for? Christmas?
The place looks like some underground EDF base.
I always try to add a little story and mission to my maps. So I'm glad that this helps to get some immersion, to get some point. It just helps to get the feel you're actually accomplishing something.
Yes, it really does. Oh. This is really excellent understanding of perspective. To put in these papers into foreground and then there's a shelves with boxes on the background. Makes the scene look really busy and nice to the eye. The same as here. Oh, the blood cuts, and I wonder why. Maybe there's a problem on my end. Maybe I put the wrong renderer. No, it's classic. It should be fine. Which controls summer maintenance? Interesting. As far as I remember, this texture is from an alien ship, but here it creates detail and a lot of feeling of a lot of detail on the walls. It's like in Strife, where there is also a lot of such textures. And overall texture work is really unique. making the place.
Just to point something out, you can get a freezer if you go back to the room with the shells and the blood. The freezer over there.
Oh, I have missed it in an obvious place. In a box. Yeah, it sometimes happens that you just don't see obvious things. Such staircases are really something that requires some work to do, but it's great to have them included because they create the illusion of playing a true two-dimensional game. And this wall is transparent. What else? Oh. The greenish tint is kinda mysterious. Well, it's really nice. These bricks combined with walls that have changed palette. I'm not sure if squeezing the bricks was necessary though. And let's go to the room nearby. Really like this place. It has an amazing unique feel to it. What's this orb? I cannot understand. It's like a red orb, brown orb inside, black orb inside. Heartbreak. There's ammunition.
Always like to experiment with different textures and different palette values to get a bit of a different look compared to the original game.
Yes, it's great because experimenting is a thing that can be hard and tedious when you try many different combinations and you don't have guaranteed results. You might find something great and you might not, but if you do find something great, it will make your level stand out, and that's very important today when thousands of levels gets made, and to have your level played, it needs to have something unique and something memorable to it, something that makes it different from the others. What was that? I had no idea how my health suddenly dropped to 65. It's really nicely picked with green walls and these sprites to decorate them. And with this greenish decoration they look together excellent. One thing adds to the other. Just about time because I've used up all the oxygen in that scuba gear due to my love to explore and spend a lot of time examining every detail. I hope that won't make the level difficult to play for me. It already did at the beginning. It's really an excellent find to do something that the player doesn't expect, because that surprises and shocks and makes the level more memorable. It's like at the beginning I expected the buildings to collapse, but I didn't expect that ground will collapse too. So when it did, it was just amazing, amazing, amazing.
And there was a close call with the scuba gear.
Yeah, with the scuba gear it was a close call. This alien machinery, I don't even remember seeing this in the game. Wait, maybe it's a sprite from a shrinker. It's really looks impressive and original here, and I've only now noticed that this is a texture we've seen earlier, but here its palette changed. Palette changes is something, one of those things that you have in build engine, but you don't have in modern engine. If you want something of a different color, you just have to take the texture file and paint it in a different way, but Duke engine, it gives, and other build games of course, it gives you freedom to make things of different color, and that's one of the things that were unfortunately taken away because progress, technological progress, is unfortunately not only giving things but also taking them away. That was an appropriate one-liner. Again, this building that's lying on the side is an excellent way to show that the scene has perspective, because when you, at the very beginning you see nothing but this building, and you see it has this foreground and this background. Not only it's possible to climb it, but it's expected and you get an impressive view. Wow, that's really cool. I thought it would just be blocked off by invisible walls, and I'll have to find some way through some underground passage or something, but again, pleasant surprise. And from point of view of guiding the player, it's also very well done, because this building attracts attention right from the very beginning, so you will want to try climbing it. The place is so huge, this building is so far away, and it looks like it's actually possible to come there. Where did that come from? It's really shocking to realize how big this area actually is. Oh. Another excellent interface from spritework. It looks like this thing actually might help. Nukem Square. Seems like it was here, and there's no Nukem Square anymore. What an irony. Though, it's possible to try and find the secret. Hopefully I'm reading the map correctly. And what else do we have? Culture district. The complex. Oh, this actually is showing where's the destination, since the culture district was destroyed. We'll have to walk around it. Ah. Mall. And... finally found him. What does that have? Oh. just use the freezer. What variety this city has. Here we have huge buildings, I feel like Duke Nukem here. And here are some really small ones that remind of Redneck Rampage. And so much destruction. The world is so huge. These cracks on the walls are misleading though, because the game taught us to see them as breakable, and they are not in this case. Oh, power change on this door looks so good. But such impressive scale and detail, it probably was really hard to work around the limitations of the engine, and that makes this work even more impressive. I really like that ability to speed up, receiving infinite health. Slower one might be more punishing in its difficulty, but it would be, I would be less happier with slow one. It's upside down. I wonder if it's a glitch or there's a story related reason for it to be upside down. It's the sun Andreas fault sign on a 20 years Nukem Square monument. He was hiding in the garage. And there's no way around.
So to tell something about the level, it kind of grew this big. I tried to build a normal sized city, and then it just became bigger, bigger, and bigger, and it became this huge, huge destroyed city. I'm kind of proud of how it turned out. But yeah, it took a lot of work to do this. I didn't plan it ahead. I just started building, and then it suddenly became this enormous, this partly destroyed city. So that's that.
It's really amazing that it turned out this way, because this city is just really... It's very shocking with its variety, with its ability of... selection of places to explore, and with its large scale. If it was a city of a smaller size, it would be a lot less impressive, and the map would be a lot less stunning. And this kind of scale is really unique point that makes the map stand out from the others. And totally worth playing for the unique experience it gives. And the variety of architecture, it clearly required a lot of work for research and finding inspiration in order to make it this combination of so many different buildings. And I really appreciate these things. Again, really excellent simulation of real 3D, and something, and also it's pretty unusual look. It makes the illusion that you're playing a true 3D game even stronger. And there's a whole part of the ceiling tiles allowed to use sprites in a very realistic way. And this it actually has 1 4 and another 4 above the first. Really amazing. It pushes this engine to its limits and beyond. From Sweeney and Company, sewage experts. Also a flipped sign. Someone's yard somehow survived.
Where is it?
So yeah, to react to spriteworks and such, it's always a challenge to simulate 2D in this game because it's not too 3D. So always try to get around that. It's a sort of it's a fun thing to do because you have to challenge yourself and find new ways to create an illusion. That's one of the fun things to make levels for Duke Nukem 3D, I think. Also, just wanted to tell you, you have to cross the chasm to get to a button. So you have to get to the white building on the other side of the ravine.
Yes, it's really a challenge, and it's really feels great to find something, some trick that can make the place convincing, and that's why working with older engines is very fun. It's not like modern engine when if you want to make something, then you just make it, and here it's not like that. It's all about coming up with some ideas, with some tricks, with some workarounds. And in newer engines it only happens sometimes. There are cases when something similar happens. For example, Rise of the Triad 2013 game, there was such a case because the amount of 3D models to construct levels from was very limited in that game, and the designers, they have to really work hard to make convincing things and to make things they don't have from things they have, and that's the reason why Rise of the Triad 2013 has the same feeling like the classic games, because its design, it has the same spirit of working around the limitations. Oh no. It's a nightmare to go down these slopes when you press space and you think you jumped, but actually you didn't. Where was... Ah, it was here.
So behind the gas station, there's a way down. You can follow a path down, and then you can jump to the other side.
That's exactly what I'm doing. That's exactly what I'm doing now. And I found that there's a very high probability to die in the place where you have to jump, because in this slope, when you move forward and press space, Duke doesn't jump. So the only way to complete this place without dying is to know beforehand that you need to jump and then move forward. And that's pretty frustrating, and it could be extremely frustrating if you forgot to save your game for a long time and then you fall to your death. And here there's some power station, it seems. And another few balconies on a building made from spritework. And here's some switch. And it turns off the force field on that place, I think earlier. These throwing mines are extremely dangerous here. That was a beautiful way to die, not just fall down, but fall down into the really deep crack in the ground. Now we get to visit that alien overgrown building. These green beams look very dangerous and very sci-fi and look nicely together with those red tints in the walls. Actually, red parts remind me of Power Slave game, because in Power Slave, the DOS version at least, alien ship was actually red inside, not green. And it looks like entering this place triggered some alarm, but I didn't see any consequences yet. They probably are saved for later. Another interface. And now we have update on the story. Aliens are going to destroy whole continent, so
Waiting for Christmas.
we have to reach the complex before that happens. Elevators. Two elevators. Oh. This is really cool how textures make the area look more complex than it actually is. With this textured, there's an illusion that there are girders on the ceiling when actually there are none.
Where is it? Hail to the king, baby.
Seen this place before. Yes, but that was a walk to the force field. And now we see that this actually was not a decoration, but a build-up to the alien ship.
Where is it?
There's also another. This is another a good idea to make the place more impressive by making you return to areas you already visited, but not just return, but find out more about them. Oh, Duke's book from Duke Nukem 2 is back here. Nice reference.
Hail to the king, baby.
Daisy Nukem. Versus sexist pickups. Speaking of which,
you see that joke about about Ghostbusters? I just had to throw some reference like that in there because it's too Nukem. It has to be. There has to have to be. It just fits the game.
there's a huge second floor made from sprites. Advanced sprite work on this level never stops to amaze me.
Yeah, in terms of spriteworks, the entire mall section, it's kind of crazy to do something like that for Doom. But I like some crazy stuff in there.
Where is it? Hail to the king, baby.
Restaurant with quotes of great people. Actually, there's amazing work with picking colors. And since we have brown chairs, then text is also brown. And it looks like the sprite limit is already shown itself because, or sector limit or wall limit, yeah, because it's sector limit or wall limit, because the legs of these tables are made of sprites and not of actual geometry. And not only that, the sprites, there's only one sprite of wood tile that faces the player, not a complete 3D leg made of 5 sprites.
Where is it? Cool. This really pisses me off.
Somebody drank too much ale, and it says Murphy's Law onto the finest Irish wager ale. Murphy, isn't it the one who made a lot of laws written in a following the principle that if trouble might happen, it will happen? And so that's what we have in this shop. So if there is a possibility that someone gets drunk and destroy everything, then that's exactly what happened.
If anything can go wrong, it will go wrong. That's exactly what happened.
And it will also not only go wrong, but it will go wrong in the worst possible moment, which is called law of baseness, the most universal law of the universe. Because it can be applied to literally anything in any situation. Government. Trust us. We're too big to fail. Very funny.
Yeah, it's a bit of a political joke right there. Couldn't resist putting one in.
Come get some. Where is it? Where is it?
Even with a small detail such as chair, there's still a place to make a convincing illusion of 3D. Very clever trick to use these things that face the player as legs of the chair. Works surprisingly well. Shop inside a shop. Now I know that my town is not the only place in the world which has shops inside shops.
Who wants some?
Yeah, this entire mall section with all the shops is based on an actual location in the Netherlands. It kind of looks like how I built it over here with the glass ceilings and all the different shops. Yeah, I think they're all over the world, those kind of mall places.
Come get some.
Double duper, cola light, 100% sugar, 0% guilt. Because if you eat that much sugar, it's too late for guilt. What? I build engine glitching again with randomly killing the player, and of course I had to forget to save just at this time. So proof of law of baseness in the work right there. but at least now I noticed that it gets destroyed. In real time, and you don't just meet it in a destroyed state. Empty shelves. Someone was on a huge shopping spree. Another crossroad. And a place to grow aliens. More aliens.
Where is it?
So single player Doom Marine died, and now the time of co-op Marine has came. Since single player Marine is green and cooperative Marines are orange, grey and red, and since this Marine was red, he has to be cooperative Marine.
What we always try to do with these type of maps is put some dead bodies to make it look like the aliens actually invaded the place. But yeah, we don't have much textures, only the Ruben's corpse and the Reed's corpse, so it's kind of limiting in that way.
But at least there are a lot of gyps and debris. Speaking of co-op
Yeah,
Marine,
that's true.
I once renamed WOT file to LMP and launched Doom with play demo of it, and surprisingly it didn't crash. It worked, and it started a cooperative game where there were 3 cooperative Marines which were rotating on one place in a totally insane way. And even more, if you actually started a new game at that moment, it actually would be a cooperative game where these cooperative Marines were standing and doing nothing. First Doom game and many new levels for it is when I've got the first sights of level designers doing different experiments, and was surprised and confused by them at times. Like I was going through some level and shooting monsters, and then who is this guy in green armor? Why is he standing there doing nothing? And why, if I shoot him, my health decreases? Then I think maybe I can kill him if I get that blue orb. And then I shoot him and my health decreases, and then he dies and I die despite my health being still more than 100. And the player's face and status bar is alright and everything, but still die. And that was weird. There's the red key card. Somehow I didn't even notice taking it. Since I have it, it's time to go back. But it would need to be possible to get to this area.
Where is it? Where is it?
The lighting is so realistic, convincing and subtle. I haven't noticed how amazing it is after looking at the top-down map. Really like how it simulates the gradient with all these different sectors of different brightness.
Where is it?
Ah, there's a door, and the elevator is teleporting. How convenient. Gives you right to the door, where the red key is required.
We're always glad that the Gukun has teleporting elevators. It makes everything so much easier when you have to make it back.
Exactly. Because you don't have to make things geometrically correct, and they still would look correct if you don't look too closely. It's another
you can build the lower level. You can just build it at a completely different place on the map. That's much easier than just stacking everything on each other. Because it's your map, it's a 2D map way of looking at. So
Yes.
teleporting an elevator just helps.
Stacking everything on top of each other. While it looks impressive, it also produces glitches like you can see in the Redneck Rampage game, where if there are more than 3 sectors one on top of the other, and you can get teleported from one sector to another, and these teleporting elevators and teleporting corridors, also what Z-Doom engine has, for example, it's another thing that you do not find most of the time in modern engines, where everything usually can only be made geometrically correct, with very few exceptions like Portal 2, which has silent portals you can put into corridors, and Prey from 2006, that one also has portals you can put into corridors to make places which are not geometrically correct. And it's really has a lot of amazing places. When you enter in some storage, you enter a small box, and that small box actually leads you to another huge room or a different place in this particular room.
Yeah, there's one level in the original Nukem where they just you have a circle, but actually two circles, and they are stacked on top of each other. So it's a very confusing level, but at the same time, it's pretty amazing that they can do that.
Speaking of stacking sectors, the game that amazed me with that is Power Slave, because in that game sectors are always stacked. If it's underwater, then the one that's below water will be stacked, and if you fall in somewhere, sectors are also stacked. And it seems like the whole engine is designed to work this way, because when you teleport, it doesn't change your position, it changes number of sector you're in. So you have to stack sectors. It's programmed this way, and it's really impressive how they set additional limitation for themselves to work with, and they managed to pull their amazing level design off. And thankfully now we have Return to Ruins set of maps, which is even more impressive, and it even has some tricks that are seem to be completely impossible. Like in the end of the first level, there's a corridor which ends under the ceiling of a big cave, and you can actually jump out of the window and appear in this cave, and it's not. And the floor is not made of sprites, it seems, because it's seen on the map, so some real advanced sector over sector trick when you cross the line, and that puts you into another sector.
I have not played Power Slave myself, but that's very impressive, especially for such an old game.
I highly recommend you to play Power Slave, because it's a really stunning game that ahead of its time. Like for example, you have some kind of first-person cutscenes when you die. Like if you die, you see your arm falling in front of you, and you see blood that's going out of you. And if you die from explosion, then your arm will be heavily wounded. If you die in lava, then it's gonna be heavily burned. And it's really impressive how they added all these amazing details of this cinematic feel. And also it's another way how it's ahead of its time. It saves your progress the way modern games do. It doesn't save your position on the level and anything and everything. It only saves what level you're in and your inventory, and nothing more than that. So when you load your saved game, you always start on a global map, and there's a system of lives. If you die, you just lose a life that you can find later, and there are checkpoints where you respawn at. It's really... I had no idea that such game could exist, which can be ahead of its time that much.
I'd definitely check it out. I think I played a demo very long time ago, but I just don't remember very much of it. It was just only one level. So.
Power Slave actually has few demos. There's a Exhumed demo, which European name of Power Slave, and the Exhumed, it has only one level, but there's also Power Slave demo, and that has 4 levels. Oh, magic letters in that hotel site.
One with just one level.
Also dive in the basin, but what if I try to jump there? This place really looks inviting, but it's just a dead end, so it would be nice if it had a secret and a way to get to get back, but now you just have to fall and get hurt. And then somehow climb back, which was used.
I started running into the limits of the game towards the end. So I wanted to include more secrets, but engine limitations got ahead of me, so I couldn't do that anymore.
Yes, I can imagine that limits, with level of such size, limits really become a problem. One, two, three. Now there are three sprite works. Really amazing.
Come get some.
But the doors don't open.
Yeah, I added a lot of 3D sprite first, like balconies and such, to create more depth and make it look more real. By the way, you're almost near the end, but the last battle is pretty intense, so I recommend you to save the game before you step into the last battle.
Okay, I'll make another save in case I will do my main one in a wrong moment. And yes, these 3D floors and with sprites it works amazingly well, because this makes you see a picture you don't expect from a build engine game. You would expect that from something like Quake engine, something more advanced, but then here it is in a Duke engine, and it's something that's possible to do, but it just takes a lot of work, which is why it's not done very often, unfortunately. But if only build engine was advanced to have better, what you see is what you get. Tools with like modern level editors with their arrows you pull to move objects carefully and type their precise positions in. This would make the job of level designers a lot easier. If
Yeah, this one was made with Napster, with some technique, and it does make creating sprites a little bit easy. And you can also copy paste things, but still there's a lot of hand work involved. It takes a lot of time still, but it's sort of easy. If you know what you do, it doesn't take that much time.
that's good. And actually it seems like makers of eDuke 32 and Mappers are involved in making a whole new build engine game. Bombshell Washington Incident, which was named to Iron Maiden, and I hope they're going to shock and surprise us with something amazing and innovative while also retaining an old school feel.
I also hope that it's very possible, something like that. So let's hope for the best.
Where is it?
Boomer will leave. It's about that dog from the house. And the dog will survive the destruction. That's like some mage change the reality with this writing. So I have to go.
Dog is from the events they have. There's a scene there where the dog survives the destruction. So it's just making fun of that.
I was beginning to afraid that I was supposed to kill that disappeared pick open a machine, but turned out I only had to get around the corner. That came out of nowhere. It's real nice how this ship creates the feeling of perspective, like there's actually something behind this house and the world doesn't end there. This looks like a beginning of the second map, so probably it doesn't here.
Yes, you're the end of the map, I think.
Really amazing map. It's an absolute must play. I really like its advanced 3D techniques and this way to find unique combinations of sprites and textures to make something different.
Thank you very much. I'm glad you enjoyed the level. I had a lot of fun creating it, so it's always cool to see other people playing it and commenting on it. So thank you for streaming this level.
Yes, thank you very much for coming to my stream. I was very happy to talk to you. Do you have time for a second map, or we'll have to do it later? And actually, it seems like make yourself.
Maybe you should do the other map another time, because this one took a lot of time. So.
Okay, then we will meet again some other time for the part 2. And for now, thank you very much for watching the stream. Goodbye.
Thank you very much as well, and goodbye. Until next time.
Yes. I'll be waiting.